My sinuses, my breath smell really bad. Generational curse of, man, it was some years, Matter of fact, yeah, my breath smelled really bad, and my mom took me to doctors. I mean, of course, when you're a kid, people just think you're being a kid, not brushing your teeth. My parents knew I was. My mom knew I was. My dad went through the same thing. So it's a sign because my breath is smelling, and the doctors don't even know what's going on. They're trying to figure out, but they don't know. They did x-rays, got me to see my stomach, how my stomach would react. The doctors couldn't figure it out, and that's how you know it's a generational curse. When the doctors can't figure it out, then yeah, it's something strange. The doctors can't even fix it. So yeah, as soon as I grew up with this. I grew up with this for a long time. I got saved when I was 19, still dealing with it. And you know how I knew it was a generational curse? Because I did get a surgery to get a part removed from my nose, and it came back. So imagine as a kid, you walking around and you just want to play, and you say hi to somebody, and the kid just walks away and say, "Ooh, a good breath stink." You know how kids are just being honest. They're not even being mean. They're like, "Why does your breath stink? Why does your breath smell?" So it hurts. I got somebody in middle school right now, like on the live. My breath used to smell, and there was nothing that I could do about it. Like I tried everything. They hear me now. Nothing I could do about it. Nothing the doctors could do about it, right? So, I grew up with this. I've been thinking this is a normal way of life. I did get a surgery, and it was cleared up for a while and didn't smell. And I got saved in 19. And this thing, I was dating this, not really, she probably wouldn't call it dating, but I was trying to get at this young woman. I mean, I really was trying hard, very beautiful young lady. But she was like, "I cannot date you because I love everything about you, but your breath thinks like a dog." And it hurt my heart, and it crushed me. And I began to weep to the Lord because I had been a Christian for a couple of years now. Like I'm talking about, it's one thing to be a Christian and go to church, but I'm talking about set apart Christian. You on fire for God when I was 19. Doing everything. Of course, not perfect. I was. I was really going hard for Christ. Out there evangelizing, and it broke my heart. I remember trying to go to church, and it seemed like witchcraft was attacking me. She was using her witchcraft at that time on me because she knew that would hurt me. The devil knew that would hurt me. Whether she knew it or not, I think she did. Whether she knew it or not, witchcraft was spewing out of her mouth to hurt me. No matter how ugly somebody is, or somebody breath stink, or the way they look, God still loves them, and you should love them too, right? So you don't know who a David is, right? I didn't look this good when I was in middle school. I looked like a little nerd, to be honest with you. But that's what happened with David. David was ignored because he didn't look like a king, but he grew up later on in the Bible. He grew up, and they say he was handsome to look at. He was handsome to look at, the Bible said. So he went from being a little shepherd boy that was ignored, and his father didn't even like him. Oh yeah, that boy over there. To being a handsome young man. You don't know who God is calling anyway. So you better be careful before you call somebody ugly. Because this has been, how many times we have seen somebody in middle school or high school, and they just, and they grow up and they're like, wow, they look good now. Anyway, that's what happened with me. So it's been happening since. There's nothing new under the sun. It's been happening since before time. I mean, in the beginning of time, not before time, but in the beginning of time, because humans wasn't before time. So in the beginning of time. So anyway, I'm crying. I'm trying to get to church that day after she told me, and it just seemed like witchcraft was trying to stop me from going to church. I mean, like it was traffic like never before, and I just wept, and I was like, "Oh Lord, man, help me, Holy Ghost," because I just wept. I said, "Lord, this is not fair. I don't want to go through this. I am your child. What's going on?" And I began to go to church that night, or I don't know if I just went back home and I turned back, but I ended up eventually going to church, and it was the Rock Church in San Diego, and I eventually go to church, and This time it was a prayer service, but this time the pastor was there. And he usually doesn't show up. He's the lead pastor, senior pastor of the Rock Church. And he usually doesn't show up. Usually doesn't show up because he's so busy. You know, it's like, he got like 10,000 people. He got a mega church. You know, he can't show up to every service. But this time he showed up and he was like, is anybody got a broken bone and anybody all this? And I was like, my back hurt too. But then as soon as he said, did anybody deal with sinuses? I was like, oh, me, please, me. And I began to run down there. People start praying for me and they start coming up. And I didn't get full deliverance that day, but it was the start. I was actually talking to somebody. I was like, wow, that was powerful. She's like, oh, your breath stink. Do you want? And I was like, no. But I was like, this, I'm not going to get a half portion. I'm going to go all the way. So I went to church, the next day, and I was determined to get my breakthrough. I walked in there and I was on the prayer team. I walked in the Rock Church. It was near Escondido, that one, because he had several campuses around San Diego. So I walked up in there and I said, I know I'm on the prayer team, but I need prayer. Because my brother, and they knew there was people who practiced deliverance, and I didn't know. I didn't know nothing about deliverance. I didn't know nothing about demons. I didn't know nothing about generational curses, because I grew up Baptist and they don't teach you those things. They teach you that a Christian cannot have a demon, but obviously from my experience, that's not, so they prayed for me. I began to throw up. I began to spit. I didn't know what was going on. All of a sudden I heard the Holy Ghost say, spit on the ground. And I'm like, spit on the ground? On the church ground? And I was like, all right, Lord. And I start spitting. That thing started coming up. I started throwing up and the demon was gone, and the person who told me, like, I can't date you because your breast milk, she looked shocked. And I thought she was going to be happy for me. That's why I'm like, maybe she was into witchcraft or something like that. I thought she was going to be happy for me. She ain't look happy at all. She just looked shocked. And I'm like, maybe she was an assignment for me. But anyway, Apostle in the Making. Cash up, $ Apostle in the Making. So if you feel like this is good soul, go ahead and sow. Do stars, whatever you want to do. All right, I love you guys. Take care. God bless.